You know, I gotta ask. You work, and I was thinking about you as I prepared for the show today. You work amongst a lot of educated women, right?
I do.
My heart goes out to you because I've noticed that the more educated women become, the worse they get. It seems as though their ego goes out of control and they become pure evil. How do you handle that evil that comes through those women that are educated and dealing with them every day like that? How do you deal with that?
I guess I don't see it I don't see it in as strong a term as you see it. I know what you mean in the sense that education breeds a kind of hubris and a kind of arrogance. And it strays you from your lane, the lane that you were destined to pursue as a particular sex. You know, whether you're male or you're female. I've written articles about this. With the rise of transgenderism and so on, we have certain responsibilities that come with our, I don't like the word gender, with our biological sex.
Right.
That God assigned, that God made us. And so I find that it's not just a problem with women, it's a problem with men also, in the sense that the more enlightened and the more smart or intelligent that you are, or the more learned that you are, the more you're likely to sort of deify yourself and commit a form of self-idolatry by making yourself into a kind of God.
So but how do you deal with working around women like that? How do you handle that? I mean, do you like stay in the corner, or what is it like for you having to be around that spirit? Because it's such a wicked spirit. How do you deal with that?
With a great deal of compassion, I suppose, when I see anyone who takes advantage of their knowledge or their intelligence or their education and use it as a cudgel to two things. Uses as a cudgel to badger men into submission, which is what I think is sort of rampant in our culture right now, especially among boys, where masculinity is criminalized and masculinity itself is regarded as toxic. There used to be toxic masculinity and then there used to be masculinity. No, all forms of masculinity are toxic.
According to those evil women.
Well, but Jesse, we just can't blame it on women. There are a lot of beta males out there who.
Oh, yeah, a lot of beta male. You're right.
There are a lot of beta males who love being beta males because it requires them to relinquish. I would say their God-given responsibilities to comport themselves, to behave in a certain way, to be leaders, and being a leader and assuming that leadership position demands something of you that a lot of men would rather not have. Men have become lazy. Men have become recalcitrant in their roles that they were designed to play. And so I don't see this as a female problem. I see this as part of a condition that has emerged since the Enlightenment, right? Since we have democratized education for all, and everybody feels that they're entitled to an education, and everybody feels that they're entitled to their opinions, and that people elevate their stupid opinions to the level of human knowledge. I see that wickedness that you're talking about being allocated among or between the sexes quite equally. Because nothing infuriates me more than when I see a young boy who's rambunctious and breaks things and wants to put it apart, gets labeled as toxic or destructive. You know, when I hear talk about the patriarchy, my sense is that we need more ethical patriarchy, not less patriarchy in our world.
Absolutely.
So maybe I differ with you on that, and that I see that there's a collusion between the sexes.
Well, the one thing I know for sure, without a doubt, is that women hate men. They hate their fathers. They hate men. And that's why they're constantly trying to weaken the man They tell him he can be like a woman, he can wear ponytails, he can wear earrings, he can change his sex, which is a lie. But they say he could. They're always trying to devalue men, and the reason for that is because the God above is the man's God, and the God below, which is Satan, is the woman's God. And that God, the God below, hate the image of God in men. And so the woman is constantly trying to degrade and destroy the image of God by destroying men. You even see it in the home. Mothers turn their sons away from their fathers by playing victim and saying how bad the father was, but they never tell you, I ran your father off. He didn't know how to handle the health in me. They pretend that they're the victim. And so they are constantly turning the boys away from their fathers, and the boys take on their identity, the same spirit that's in the mothers and now in the boy and the girl. And so they hate the male image because it is an image of God. Have you noticed that?
Well, it's part of our secular culture, Jesse. I mean, it's how one has to notice that because it is part of what happens in a secular society in which the sexes, rather than being, see, I'm more of a complementarian in my approach to the roles between the sexes as opposed to an egalitarian, in the sense that I think they complement each other. And when you live in a society that has taken away from men all the responsibilities, all the actions, all the rites of passage, I should say, that bend him towards masculinity, it's hard not to notice. And
since the power is in the man and not in the woman have no power at all, zero, because Satan is her God and Satan has no power. Why do men give up their masculinity so easy to the woman or because of the woman when the real power is in the man and not in her?
Well, you know, this is a deeper cultural issue because we do have a society. I think once you have a society that is predicated on egalitarianism, that treats the sexes identically and do not recognize God-given differences between men and women, for example, you are bound to have a faulty socialization process under which men are governed. And it's partly cultural. It's also partly individual in the sense that we just live in a society where people are relinquishing their responsibilities left, right, and center.
Amazing.
And those responsibilities that they know come from a higher source, they know come from God. It's far easier to not align oneself with God's will, but to somehow be lazy and just back out of your responsibilities. I mean, look, there's this, I will just give you one example. There's this man I've been giving money to for 27 years. He's on the street. He's always, I don't know if he's homeless but he's got his little, cup, shaking it. And every so and then I give him $5. And I've known him for 24 years because he stands outside the Walgreens and outside my university. And I just said to him, do you have children? And he said, I have 12 children.
Whoa.
And he started bringing his children, his young sons, along with him. And one of them, when I was giving him money, was so ashamed, he hid his face between his hands like that because he didn't want to look at me giving his father money. So I think also we live in a society where men also have to be accountable for their behaviors as well. That if you can't be a homeless person or a street beggar, really, and father 10 children.
But why do you keep giving him money knowing you're hurting him and not helping him? Why do you give him anything?
I guess I feel sorry for him.
But that's not love. You're not supposed to feel sorry for anyone. God did not give us the right to feel sorry for anyone. We're not God, right? But you're feeling sorry for him is what is helping to destroy him. That's what mothers do to the children. She feels sorry for them, and in return, she destroys them. So you're feeling sorry is hurting him rather than helping him.
Well, I'm not clairvoyant. I don't know what he does with the money. He's got, not that I know he has 11 children and he's bringing them around. I don't know. I guess I'm just habituated as a Christian, a newly minted Christian. And even before I was a Christian, I sort of had the spirit of generosity where I feel like if you see someone in need, you don't know what they're going to do with the money. I don't know that he's going to buy liquor. I have no reason to think he's a drug addict. If I think that he can do some good with it and it's not costing
He's not
me
going to
that
do
much.
any good with it. Mark my word. Beggars don't do good with money. But let me ask, I say to men that they should not marry an educated woman, that educated women do not make for good wives and mothers. Do you agree with that?
Not necessarily. I think, because I've met a lot of educated women who are traditional wives.
No, they're giving their husband hell, and they don't care about the children.
I wouldn't want to sort of. I do think that children are getting a raw deal because their upbringing is being outsourced to the horrible public education system that we have.
Because educated women have no love. They don't love their children. They don't love their husbands. They don't love God. They only love their ego. They love their father, Satan. And everything is about them. They can care less about the children or anyone. And that's why they don't make for good wives and mothers.
Well, some do, some don't.
Would you ever marry an educated woman? Be honest. Not that you're dishonest, but would you ever marry an educated woman?
I've never thought about it.
See, you haven't even thought about it. And you work around them.
I don't know that education per se is the enemy. I think it's your will and it's your intention and the intention that you bring to any relationship that you're in that really counts.
Because of time, I have to move a little bit faster here. A lot of young people believe that college is a scam now. Are they right about that?
Well, I have argued that the universities should be defunded, especially the humanities departments, because they are nothing but left-wing bastions for radicals to propagate ideologies that are totally inimical to the well-being of our country. Marxism, communism, socialism. College has become a scam because we are not teaching people how to acquire the skills that they need to survive in the world, which is part of what a college education does. It does two things. As someone who's been an educator for 27 years, it gives you life skills that enables you to navigate the world. And it also helps in cultivating your moral imagination. It cultivates your moral character. It's part of broadening your sense of understanding of the world, of other people, and it ought to build a sense of compassion and moral, right compassion, not false syrupy compassion, where we use compassion to excuse bad behavior. So to answer your question, I think college has become a scam, because I don't think that we're really educating our young people
what a
in the way
mess.
that we should be.
That's amazing.